What is up, everybody, and welcome to another YouTube video on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over the minis that I think need to be buffed and nerfed in the next update of Clash Mini. Okay, starting it off, we are going to be going over to the minis that I think need to be buffed inside of Clash Mini. First up, we have the Valkyrie. What I think the Valkyrie needs is just +2 HP to be viable. Unfortunately, she just struggles as a 3-cost mini to really do anything valuable and take care of business. She does a lot of AoE damage, but unfortunately she just gets taken out too quick, never gets a use of any of her passive abilities or her star powers. Her star power, her first star power, being able to continually spin and stack up, never gets any value because I feel like she gets taken out before she's even able to get that stack indefinitely or even anywhere near close to what she needs it to be viable. Also, the boast ability to heal up after she kills an enemy mini never gets any value because she is too squishy. She gets taken out before she gets a kill. She might weaken the front line, but she really never gets any value. With 2 more HP, it might make her a viable option in the 3 elixir slot, but right now I think the giant skeleton is just better because when it explodes, it does 3 damage to everything around it. That's almost guaranteed 3 damage, and it does a little bit of a stun as well. Next up, we have the Healing Ranger. What we're going to be doing with the Healing Ranger is we are going to remove its 3 cost and we are going to put it to a 2 cost mini. What is this going to do? This is going to make the mini completely viable in a lot of Clash Mini decks, and I think that this unit will finally be used inside of the meta. But wait, it will be way too overpowered if we just do that, so we are going to need to nerf its stats as well and some star abilities. So what I suggest is the heal currently does 4 healing with its spear. We're going to remove that and we're going to replace it with a 2 heal spear, a lot weaker, and it's not really that much, but guess what? We are going to need to make it weak because it will be very broken if it was at 4 or even at 3 with a 2 cost to start. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to remove 2 hit points from its total hit point pool. It currently has 6. We're going to make it have 4 HP, just like most of the 2 cost ranged minis. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the first star ability and reduce its healing from +2 to +1 HP. So that'll make it have a 3 HP spear when it shoots its spear. Not a lot, but guess what? Most people are probably going to even 3-star this mini. So the heal spear is going to be thicker. It's going to rage up your units, and it is going to heal your units by 3. If you 3-star this mini, it also will attack speed faster, and it will get off its super faster as well. I don't want to make this mini completely broken, so these are the changes currently that I think will be good for the Healing Ranger. Next up, we have another 3-cost mini, the Mini Pekka. I think this just needs to have +1 HP to be a viable mini inside of Clash Mini, because unfortunately, I just think that the Mini Pekka just does not do enough. And what do I mean by that? Is I mean the Barbarian just outclasses it, and it only costs 2 elixir. All you have to do is upgrade it once to get that critical strike, and I think that the Mini Pekka just needs an extra little bit of tankiness that will allow it to become part of the meta. What do I think? +1 HP, will it be enough to make the Mini Pekka a unit that is used in a couple of decks inside of Clash Mini? I don't know, but I think this is a good step in the right direction, and maybe we can tweak it just a little bit more after this HP buff in a future update if need be. I don't want to buff it too much because the Mini Pekka is one of those units that can be absolutely amazing and just destroy everything and kind of be like an Electro Wizard if we buff him too heavily. Next up, we have the giant skeleton. I think the giant skeleton's in a pretty decent spot right now, but it gets absolutely obliterated and gets taken out almost instantly. I think now, after the nerfs to the giant skeleton, give it +1 HP and see where it falls in the meta. I think it's a very good 3-cost mini, but we are buffing a lot of the other 3-cost minis in this update as well. So I think the giant skeleton, give it 1 more HP and will allow it to counter the Valkyries, to counter the mini Pekkas, because if they are prevalent in the meta, giant skeleton might be the only option to save your front line because of these new minis that are going to get absolutely buffed in this update. Next up is another 3-cost mini, the Bowler. There was a lot of things that I thought could change with the Bowler, maybe +0.05 attack speed, but I went with just +1 HP, and I promise not all of these minis are just HP buffs, but most of them are. I think the meta right now is in a really, really good spot, and I think just little upgrades, little buffs at a time to these minis will make them part of the meta and really start to strive. I think the Bowler with 1 more HP will make it a little bit tankier and will really allow it to survive for that extra maybe hit, which is 2 extra damage. I think 1 HP on the Bowler might be the way to go, and then after this we can maybe buff it just a little bit more if it still needs be. But I think right now, +1 HP on the Bowler is going to be the way to go. Next up, we have our only 2-cost mini. I mean, the Battle Healer was a 3-cost that we made a 2-cost, but now the only 2-cost mini currently in the game that we are going to touch, and that is the Ice Wizard. We want to give it +0.05 attacks per second. It's not a pretty big buff to the Ice Wizard, but it might just be just enough to make it more viable and get into the meta. Now we're going to be going over to our 4-cost minis here. Starting it off, we have the Mega Knight. I think as the only true, I guess you could say, tank in the game, I think we're going to need to give it 1 more HP. I think there's just a lot of minis out there that just get absolutely pummeled and do so much damage, especially with heroes, especially the Barbarian King boosting every mini by 1 damage. I think that the Mega Knight just needs 1 more hit point. It is in an okay spot right now, but with 1 more health, it might make it into a little bit of a better spot, and it might find its way into more decks. Now, the next 4-cost mini on the list is going to be the Electro Wizard. The Electro Wizard, what we're going to do is give it 1 more HP back to what it was before. It's a lot weaker with the 3 targets, and I think that has really settled into everybody. Let's give it 1 more health to maybe make it a little bit more viable. It might need another buff after this. It might need to get back its 0.05 attack speed that it lost as well. But for right now, I do not want to see another Electro Wizard meta, so I'm only going to give it 1 HP. I don't think that's going to make it super overpowered or even overpowered, but it might make it at least viable in 1 or 2 decks. But moving over to the only mini that I think needs to be nerfed is going to be the Barbarian. -0.05 attacks per second. The reason why this is the only nerf that I want to do to the Barbarian is because the Barbarian is in a pretty okay spot right now. I know when it goes off in a machine gun Barbarian, it's absolutely nuts, but right now everybody has miners, everybody has princes, everybody has archers, everybody has these units that either hit the back line or don't really clear out the front line. But we just buffed the mini Pekka, which will counter the Barbarian now. We just buffed the Valkyrie, which will do a lot of work versus the Barbarian. The Mega Knight, if it's alive, it'll stun the Barbarian, slowing down its infinite raging and stacking. The Barbarian really needs like 1 to 2 stars to even be a viable mini on the board, and I think with this nerf, it is going to be a stacking nerf as well, so it definitely will hurt the Barbarian a little bit. If this is not enough in the future, we can nerf it again, another 0.05. I think right now the game is very, very balanced, and I do not want to disrupt how amazing the meta is and diverse the meta is currently in Clash Mini. I think a lot of people right now are probably confused why I don't have the Miner or the Archer or any other units that I put very high up in my tier list to get nerfed in this video, and the reason why is because the Miner is pretty easy to counter if you know how to do so, and for that point alone, I cannot really nerf it yet. I am going to be putting out a video very shortly on the channel on how to counter the Miner, a lot of different techs to counter the Miner, so stay tuned for that video. Hit the subscribe button so you're notified when that video goes live. Also, the Archer, I mean, it's a good unit, it's a solid unit, but you need 2 stars, 1 star mainly to even make it worthwhile. And I just do not think you can nerf a unit that allows you to win matchups when they have a very big beefy front line that you cannot get past, and you need some way to hit the back line. Let's see what happens after these nerfs and buffs, see where the meta settles, and then we can adjust accordingly. Thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube video. Hope you guys enjoyed the buffs and the nerfs in this video. If you guys have any suggestions, or what do you think I did wrong, or what you think should be buffed or nerfed, please put it in the comments below. But until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.